Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to PHLY Flyers, presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the afternoon. Joining me today, we have a very special guest co-host from the Inside the Coach's Room YouTube channel and podcast, former NHL video coach for over 2 decades. It's our pal, Petey, Steve Peters. What's going on today, Petey?
What, Bill? You make me sound old when you say over. But I guess I am.
Distinguished.
Yeah, distinguished. I'm gonna go with that little
yes.
salt and pepper coming on the beard. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. It's good. You know what though, Bill? It's too far from hockey. This time of year is just miserable. Just hunting for things to talk about in the world of hockey. So let's see if we can trudge through August.
No, it's fun. We are broadcasting live from our Xfinity mobile studio today. Make sure you check out Xfinity. I'm a big fan of all the Xfinity products. Petey, it's funny. We were just talking off the air. Today is actually the 4th anniversary of my very first solo sports talk show. I did the overnight 2 to 6 a.m. at WIP 4 years ago, and now here we are. And we were just talking it's a tough time of year. There's not a ton going on, but as much as I'm searching for stuff to do, we're talking last night. I was like, I'll get you an outline when I figure out what we're doing. You know, as much as it is, I'm like, I also don't want to be doing Jalen Hurts quarterback ranking stuff. So it's a give and take of
it's hard.
My mental health is better.
But this is funny though, because this is, but trust me, because I come from the Arizona Coyote community, and we had a lot of tough summers. But it's this time of year in August when 32 teams right now are going, hey, this guy's going to make the difference. It's Trevor Zegras. Hey, the Trevor Zegras is going to make the difference. Sanheim's a little bit older, a little bit better. That's going to make the difference. So everybody right now, it's got that optimism. So that's one of the positives right now. Like, when training camp comes, we're going to see Matvei Michkov with Zegras, and they're going to be exciting, and we're going to be good. But everybody's thinking that right now. And that's the hard part.
The conversations we have now about expectations and stuff, it's just like, oh, yeah, well, Michkov's going to have 80, 90 points. And it's just
for sure.
It's just a fact in our minds. And
top 10 power play
stuff.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, power play is going to be 15th in the league, probably not 33rd or whatever. So we actually do though have a few things I got to remind everybody about. First and foremost, hit that like button. Give us the likes. I don't eat unless we get 200 likes, and I'm freaking starving. So hit the like button. We have a Flyers road trip to tell you about. That's right. And you got a long time to save up and make sure you can go on this one. You're not going to want to miss it. Thanks to our friends at Philly Sports Trips. We are going out west, and we're going out west March 17th to the 22nd. We are going to see the Ducks in Anaheim. We're going to see the Kings in LA. We are going to have a great time booing Cutter Gauthier, visiting Richards and Carter's Stanley Cup banners. It's going to be a great time going on out there. Make sure you go to allphly.com right now and book your trip, because these are going to sell out. You got a long time. It's not till March, but it makes a great birthday gift, great Christmas gift, little treat yourself adventure. And guess who's going to be there? John LeClair, former 50-goal scorer. John LeClair will be with us as well, Flyers legend. You're not going to want to miss this trip. It's going to be freaking great. All right. We actually have some news, Petey. Despite it being the slowest time of the year imaginable for hockey, we've got a little bit of news, and it broke shortly after yesterday's show. And that brings us to our Dude at Dental Bright Smiles. And I got to tell you what's making me smile. About a year after the Flyers terminated Ryan Johansen's contract, we actually have an answer on what's going to happen to his cap hit. We have resolution. The arbiter has ruled in favor of the Philadelphia Flyers. So that $4 million that was kind of up in the air as his cap hit, the Nashville Predators were retaining 50%. The Flyers had the other 50%. No one was really sure what was going to happen with it. It seemed as if during his time in Colorado, Ryan Johansen was at least healthy enough to play. And he said, oh, yeah, when he got traded to Philadelphia, I'm cool to play for John Tortorella. That would be great. And then he gets waived, sent to the AHL, and suddenly he has a hip issue that required surgery That didn't happen until about a year ago, so he had no intention of playing out the season last year either. And all this this is typically a pro labor podcast, Petey. We want the players to get everything that they have coming to them. But this was just kind of a weird situation in which it was never going to work. You were never going to have Johansen and Tortorella together again. He didn't want to play in the minors. The Flyers didn't really see a role for him in the NHL. He gets surgery that'll basically keep him out of last season. And because of that, the independent arbiter goes, yeah, the Flyers don't owe you $4 million. And it works out for the cap situation for Philly because they are right up against it right now without tapping into LTIR for Ryan Ellis. So we actually have a little bit of resolution. I know people have been asking, when are we going to hear about Johansen? What's going to become of that cap hit? We finally know. It will not affect the Flyers, does not impact them. No carryover from last year. And that's good because they are spending as much on their roster as the Florida Panthers. And having any overages, it's really kind of nuts when you think about it. Like, now there's a ton of dead money. There's the Ryan Ellis contract.
Yeah.
They've overpaid a couple guys purposefully for shorter term deals, whatever. But like the Florida Panthers, 3 straight trips to the final. The Philadelphia Flyers haven't made the playoffs since the pandemic. So,
but Bill, you know what? As I look at their cap today, right now they've got just a little over $350,000 left on the cap, and you know who could fit under that? Me and you. Like I think they could bring us both in and fit us in at that 3. I'm good. I could. Combined 350. I think I'd. Let's go. Like maybe they could use us.
I'll be the e-bug for that. I think.
Let's go.
What's the goaltending going to get worse? I could easily try on some pads.
Exactly. Let's do it. Yeah, it's interesting when you look at what they've done over the summer and what this roster has transitioned into and where you look at the cap space right now. The one thing that you have to like in your organization is when they're willing to spend that money. Now, you might not always agree who they're spending it on and how they're spending that money, but a sign that an ownership group and management group is willing to spend that money. I mean, there's a lot of organizations in this National Hockey League that are not doing that. They're spending lower than and trying. At one point, Arizona was continually trying to get to the bottom and trying to get to the floor. So as a fan, you see your team spending money. Now, it might not always do it the way you want to, but at least it's exciting. The Flyers are spending some money.
They've always been a spend to the cap type of team. It's just the way that they're structured. And yeah, there were those years with Arizona where we called them just the money laundering franchise.
That was
like,
us.
Oh yeah, just send them Marian Hossa's contract. Send them Chris Pronger's contract. Like whoever, just so that they would get to the floor. Now with the Flyers, hopefully having some room next year, they'll actually make the improvements necessary. They've been telling us all along the summer of 26 is when they're really going to start going for it. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, you look at 5.4 for Christian Dvorak.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yep.
But it's a 1-year deal. Like that's a purposeful, we'll overpay you because we don't want to commit long-term to you. There's the Ivan Fedotov at like almost 3.3 mil. Yeah, that's way too much. But he said he wasn't coming over unless he was going to make what he was making in the KHL, and the Flyers wanted to see. Now, what they found out is he's not an NHL netminder, but it was worth a look while the team is rebuilding. I suppose it's not going to hurt them long term. It expires after this coming season, and something tells me it's going to be buried in the minors for quite some time this year. So we'll see how the cap situation all shakes out. But this is good news for what they have going now, considering the potential for bonus overages and everything. Good news on the Ryan Johansen front, finally, after a year and a half of it kind of being up in the air. All right, Petey. This is the first thing I wanted to get into you with today is the summer talent tiers.
Yeah.
About a week ago, we talked about the netminders, and yes, the Flyers were in the lowest tier, and that made a ton of sense to me. Absolutely. The results this team has gotten, the worst by far in the league. They bring in Dan Vladar. Maybe he brings them up, but there's just like no evidence he's as good as like goalie people think he could be. He's league average at best right now. Yes, they're in the lowest tier. But now we have Travis Yost of TSN giving us the defenseman talent tiers, the blue line talent tiers. The Flyers find themselves in the 4th out of 5, basically a D. Only Anaheim and San Jose are in tier 5, and they are horrible teams. Anaheim has a bunch of guys who like won CHL Defenseman of the Year. They're just not there yet, or not where they're going. And San Jose, there's a reason they've been in the top of the draft for the last 5 years or so. You look at these tiers, and the Flyers in tier 4, Petey, I don't love this defense. I am not the biggest fan of this Flyers defense, but I just feel like they're more in the C than D territory. That's how I like Travis Sanheim alone. I've had to begrudgingly accept that he's really good. He's maybe not my style of defenseman, but when it's, oh yeah, he's going to play for Canada in the Olympics, I have to defer to them and say my assessment is wrong. I think they have some other pretty decent players, but nobody who blows the doors off. I just think they're a grade too low here.
Yeah, it's funny because when we look at the way the Philadelphia Flyers are ranked in this particular ranking, a lot of it's history bias.
Yes.
And the problem with the Philadelphia Flyers is they give up a lot of goals. And is it the defenseman fault? Is it the system fault? Is it the coaching fault? The team fault? Like there's so many factors that get your team into a low scoring or poor defending mode. It's not just the defenseman. And when you're looking at this list specifically, I think, of course, there is some. You look at some of the teams at the top, towards the top of these tiers, and you look at the Vancouver Canucks. Well, the Vancouver Canucks are there because of Quinn Hughes.
Yes.
They don't have a deep six, but they've got Quinn Hughes. And so that's when you look at the Philadelphia Flyers, you go, okay, so what's wrong? Do I think they're a deep six? No. This is not a Stanley Cup winning six defenseman today. Now they could be. They can grow into that because of their youth, and they are young, and they have the ability to do that. And I think that the injury to Rasmus Ristolainen right now and the uncertainty of his start at the beginning of the season really puts this defense in, hey, exactly what are they? But with a young player like Jamie Drysdale, Sanheim, he's elite. Like Sanheim is one of the top 10 defensemen in the league, according to Team Canada. So this is a quality player. And Cam York's a guy that can move the puck, either can defend. Yeah, by the bottom, you're looking at your bottom pair. Yeah, but everybody kind of winds down at the bottom pair. So I'm going to agree with you. I think this is it's not a tier 1. I mean, they're not competing with the top teams only with Carolina and Colorado and Dallas. They're not. But are they better than what I think people are? I think they are. And I think by the time you get to December, and if Ristolainen can get healthy and everybody can stay healthy, I think with a better defensive system under Rick Tocchet, and if hopefully you can get some decent goaltending, I think you're going to see this team starting to defend better. And I think you're going to see this team starting to climb in that goals against number. So they're not going to be in the bottom 2, 3, 4. You're going to see that team starting to climb. But again, you got to feel those realistic expectations of where they are. I agree with you. I think this is a C, but it's trending upward. And there's some teams on this list that are C's and D's that are, dude, they're not trending up. So for Philly fans, this is a 6 that's trending in the right direction.
No, and Yost pointed out, for each team, one guy that kind of would make or break the team's ranking. And it is Jamie Drysdale, where he points out for the Flyers, you have seen flashes of the skill, but he consistently gets outscored. And listen, on a team that, according to Hockey Reference, had a negative 45.5 goals save above average last year, that's, of course they're getting outscored. Now, Jamie Drysdale has a ways to go. You're starting to see some flashes, but he needs to improve. But I just look at this team. I often think, everyone has gotten Rasmus Ristolainen wrong, his whole career. Early on, it was how do you not see it? He's really good. And it's no, actually, he's bad. And now... And now he's turned himself into a pretty decent defenseman, and everyone is living in a world where it's wasn't he terrible? And it's the coaching staff was able to kind of turn him into a pretty serviceable player over the last few years. You see the advanced numbers with him and Zamula on the ice last year. They were one of the better Flyers defensive pairs. I'm not asking for the world here. They're not an A. I just think it's a C. I think they're a good, solid C gets degree kind of team on defense.
Yeah, but I think what's interesting and what I think is most important takeaway from this is where we're talking about the youth and their ability to trend in the right direction. Because some of these teams you can see, and I'll put the Chicago Blackhawks in that same category with with Kaiser and Renzel and Vlasic and Lashuna. There's a young defense that I think is getting better. But you go to the LA Kings, a team that I thought should have beat Edmonton early in this playoffs last year, and you look at what they've done at defense. They got older, they got slower, and I think they're going the other direction. And my favorite team. We're going to get to them in a minute. We'll get to them in a minute. But that's where you look at some of these teams, and I think you if you're going to win a Stanley Cup, I believe you have to have a very deep defense that can play all kinds of different roles. And when you look at this rating and you see the Florida Panthers, 2-time Stanley Cup Florida Panthers, who still have Forsling and Ekblad and Mikkola and Jones and Kulikov on their back end and add Petrie, they're a B. Dude, like, that's not an A defense. Like, I'll take that defense all day long. So when you look at some of these things, some of the ratings are based on what they have. Like we said, Ken Hughes is there, so they push them way up. Buffalo is a B, and what if I know there's some really good players on that Buffalo team, but there's another team with some history bias. Like, they got to prove themselves to me. So I think take this rating with a grain of salt. Again, we're talking in August, so we've got to see where they fall out, and we got to talk about things. So I think it's a good thing for Flyers fans to go, hey, I think they missed it here, and we're young, and we're going to be better. You wait and see.
To win a cup, I think they maybe don't have that alpha guy, and that automatically pushes you up. But it's more by committee in Florida, as you said. No, they don't have the Makar, they don't have the Hughes, the Heiskanen, but it's 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who can all play important roles for their team. That, I don't know. There aren't many teams, unless you have Makar, that I'm like, oh yeah, I would keep that defense over Florida's. Know,
and this is where you say, build. This is where you try to build this team too. You're talking about where they are in the rebuild, and where the Flyers are in the rebuild. They're not ready for that yet. No. Don't shoot the moon on getting a number one defenseman on a team that's not ready to win, and don't spend that money on a guy that you can get a year or maybe 2 years from now that's going to be that guy. Or maybe it is Sanheim. Maybe it is York. Maybe it is Drysdale by then. Like, those three to me, with a Nick Seeler holding down the fort and being the penalty killer, man, I like that top four. I think there's a huge upside there. And I'd rather go into a season with a set of defensemen going, hey, we got some upside here. Like, we got some positives here, than going, oh my goodness, we're old, we're slow. We got some big names, but they're not very good. If that's a team I'm working for, I want to have this. I want to have some upside and some hope on what's happening at the back end.
Yeah, it's a lot of mobile defensemen. It's a lot of guys who can fill in for you. We're not sure who can run a power play yet, but that's what rebuilding seasons are for, is figuring out what holes you need to fill after you figure out who the guys you already have are. And that's I think they're trending in the right direction. I think you're right. By December, it's going to be they're better than the tier 4. They're better than a team like the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, jeez.
We were talking, and I really did this so you could talk about Erik Karlsson and their defense, but we were talking yesterday about still available free agents that maybe the Flyers could bring in on PTOs, and Matt Grzelcyk is one. And we're looking at it, and it's he played all 82 games at almost 21 minutes a night for Pittsburgh. He is now looking at, and he's 32. He's not super old. He's not 38. And you look at him, available probably for a team to bring in on a PTO. Yeah, that makes sense. It's Pittsburgh's defense. He played 21 minutes. That's maybe one of the reasons they were so bad. But it's their high-paid guys on that back end that are killing them, including your favorite player in the league, Erik Karlsson.
I don't get it. What am I missing? It's one of those. I know we talk about the old men yelling at clouds, and I yell at the clouds to Erik Karlsson. I do not understand the love for Erik Karlsson. I don't get it, and I haven't gotten it since he was in Ottawa, winning Norris trophies, the top of his career. I don't understand. For me, a defenseman has to defend, and has to have some kind of a passion or ability to try to keep the opponents from scoring. Erik Karlsson has none of it. Zero. A matter of fact, it might be a -10. And I've put together films, if you've seen some of the things I've done on Twitter and YouTube about his defending, it's horrific. It's not just, hey, he's really trying hard and he's missing it. No, he ain't tried at all. Dude doesn't try. When he doesn't have the puck and the puck is coming towards him, doesn't try. And if you want to have him on the ice when you're defending, you're not going to win. And so when I saw teams looking at, hey, we should trade for a player like Erik Karlsson over the summer, he is not going to help a team that's trying to rebuild. And he's not going to help a team that's trying to dig out of it. And he's clearly not going to help a team that's trying to pursue a Stanley Cup, because you can't have guys that take any shifts off. And he does. So when you look what he did in San Jose with the numbers that he put up, well, he was the only guy there. They had nobody else to carry the puck on the power play. That's why Burns wanted out, because he couldn't play with Karlsson, couldn't play with him. Didn't want to be in around him because he was a guy that wanted the puck, wanted to do everything himself, and he put up unbelievable numbers on the worst team in hockey.
That's Karlsson to me, like, he's a very specific kind of player, and I really enjoyed him when he was in Ottawa.
Sure.
It made it tough for me because Ottawa I hate more than any team in the league, and I loved watching Karlsson. Like, I think that playoff run where they ran into Pittsburgh, that's some of the best hockey I've ever seen anyone play. But Karlsson is at the height of, he doesn't need to try to be on defense because when he's on the ice, you're on offense. Like, that's his ability. But once he's no longer in his prime, it's, well, what is he really doing for you half the game? And now, some of his deficiencies, he's always really stunned me in that he's just kind of an average power play guy. Like, he's not Brent Burns. He's not even Shane Gostisbehere on the power play. He's real talents are like leading the rush or sending outlet passes, things like that. And it's not really stuff that happens on the, he's a unique player. And now that, oh yeah, well, you know, how many ankle surgeries has he had?
Yeah.
His mobility is a third of what it used to be. He's aging. He's been hurt. He's just not good anymore. And it's a shame because he was really fun to watch. But now I cannot imagine being one of these teams paying him, Pittsburgh sitting there paying. What are we paying for here? Yeah. They're other like high-end guys. At least you're getting something out of them. Like, is Malkin what he was? Is Letang what he was? No, but they're on reasonable contracts. Karlsson's sitting there making $10 million, and he stinks.
Yeah, it's hard because you do, and this is what I talk about, where you have to be careful when you're in a team in a situation like the Philadelphia Flyers. You see the name, you see the history, you see the Norris trophies, you see the points, and you go, "Gosh, would it be fun to put that guy?" Be careful. Because things change over time, and you're not the player that you were in. $10 million. I mean, he's by far the highest paid defenseman on the team. Chris Letang makes just over $6 million, and I'll take Chris Letang at $6 million. And $6 million is a reasonable price to play for a good defenseman in the National Hockey League now. $10 million, dude, you better be elite, and you better be carrying the puck all the time. You better be pulling this team through the muck and the mire. And Erik Karlsson's not that guy. So I think when you're a team like the Philadelphia Flyers, you have to be careful, especially where you are in the rebuild and trying to improve. You have to be careful of these trap guys. And Erik Karlsson to me is a trap guy. I hear people in Edmonton going, "We need Erik Karlsson." Are you out of your mind? He can deliver the puck to McDavid. There is no question on a breakout. He can snap that puck up the ice. But you talk about his power play. He plays at a slower pace, even on the power play. He's not a guy that's pulling the puck off the wall and trying to get in the middle of the ice. Everything he does is very deliberate and very slow, but he does it well. Yeah. Moves the puck extremely well, walks the line well, gets the puck to the net well, but he just doesn't do any of those things quickly. And Edmonton thrives on doing things fast, so he doesn't fit there. So I said this in Arizona. Arizona got brought in. They were first in the Pacific Division and in January and February, and they brought in Taylor Hall. It's the wrong player on the wrong team. The Arizona Coyotes were not ready for Taylor Hall. They didn't need the 2-year removed MVP of the league playing on a team that just wasn't ready for him, and it just fell apart. And it just wasn't the right player at the right time. And that's the things you need to be careful for when you're the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that gives me confidence. We have some questions from listeners we're going to get to in a little bit, and one of them is just kind of about the plan and how you're seeing it. One of the things that gives me confidence is when we've had the opportunities to talk to Dan Hilferty, when we've had the opportunities to talk to Briere, but Keith Jones especially says it's not even... Yes, we want to be aggressive when we feel it's right, and we are not going to hesitate to bring in great players, but they have to be the right players as well. It can't just be like in the summer of 2011, hey, we need a goalie. Well, Briz is the only one available. All right, well, it has to be Briz then. Do whatever it takes. Like, all right, well, that was wrong. You don't want to get in that trap of, well, we have to do something. And that's one of those things that gives me, like, it won't be an aging Erik Karlsson hoping, oh yeah, man, that 2017 playoff was great. Like, okay, that was 9 years ago, you know, like, so that's one of the things that gives me confidence is they do recognize that part. It's there. I'm hoping they don't fall into any of those, especially super high price traps.
And I don't think they will. But one of the things, and as we talk about rebuilds, is you got to stick and commit to the plan. And once you vary from that plan, and there's a lot of reasons, we'll get into that in a little bit, but a lot of reasons you vary from that plan. As long as you stick to the plan, it can be successful. The problem is teams rarely stick it out through a rebuild for various reasons, and we'll talk about those. But you hope as a Flyer fan, because you just want hope. You just want to look and go, God, we might have a chance. We might play competitive games in January. We might be better than we were a year ago. And most importantly, we're going to compete on a nightly basis. We're going to be at least in games. We're going to try, and we're not going to get blown out, and we're not going to be over talented every single night. You just want to have a chance. And I think what Danny Briere is trying to build hope, and hope for the future, even though it might not be tomorrow. Although I think this will be a better team. I think statistically you're going to see a better performance by the Philadelphia Flyers this season and better individual performances. I still don't think they're quite ready to break through and be a serious contender in the playoffs, but they're going to be better.
I expect them to be in the mix in the second half of the season. If they get in, we were just talking about this yesterday, like, if they get in because of a ton of overtime losses, because that's what the 8th seed always is. It's like, oh, yeah, the team that had 12 instead of 6 overtime losses, or they won a few extra shootouts. And listen, with Zegras and Michkov and Sam Ersson is actually pretty good in shootout. Like, okay, I can see that getting them in. But in terms of winning a round or two, getting into a Final Four, no, they are still a few years away from that. I think they're just kind of going to be in that mushy middle of the East where, yeah, you could get in. Just see you're going to be within 6 points of the team that does. We'll see how it goes. All right. We have a bunch of other stuff to get to, so let's take our first commercial break. One of our newest sponsors here is our friends at Ford and your local Ford stores. And I got to tell you today about the legendary Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks in America for 48 straight years. The last time the Ford F-Series wasn't the best-selling truck, the Flyers were like coming off back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. That's how freaking long it's been. The F-150 blends work-ready toughness with modern-day tech and luxury. It offers 6 powertrain options, including a hybrid and a fully electric Lightning model. The 3.5-liter Power Boost Hybrid V6 delivers 430 horsepower and an amazing towing capacity. It's got best in class up to 14,000 pounds, depending on configuration. And the Pro Power Onboard turns your truck into a mobile generator, perfect for job sites or tailgates. It's got military-grade aluminum alloy body, tough, lightweight, and corrosion-resistant, and the advanced Sync 4 system with cloud-based voice recognition and over-the-air updates. The interior work surface folds out to become a desk inside your truck. It's smart and convenient. And the Max Recline seats, who doesn't love a nice Max Recline seat, offers nearly 180-degree recline. Great for naps or breaks. It's got the tailgate work service, 360-degree camera, and select drive modes like mud, sand, snow, tow/haul, eco, and so much more. The Ford Blue Cruise hands-free highway driving system is available on certain trims as well. It's got the regular Super Cab and Super Crew, plus bed lengths to fit all of your needs. So check out your local Ford store today. Tell them PHLY sent you. All right, and while we're here, I have to tell you, as my phone won't respond, there we go. Oh, it's about our friends at Xfinity and the 5-year price guarantee. Listen, life, it is unpredictable, but the best price of your internet shouldn't be. You need to get a reliable price for a reliable connection, and all in means all in with Xfinity. You get Wi-Fi equipment and unlimited data included, and introducing the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. We talked about this yesterday, Kelly and I. 5 years from now, Sean Couturier won't still be under contract with the Philadelphia Flyers. That's how long you get one price on your internet with Xfinity. Change is always happening. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go, but no matter what changes in 5 years, the price of your internet will stay the same. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. All right. Now, you actually threw me some pretty interesting questions about what goes on this time of year, Petey, that we could kind of get into. And I find this stuff interesting because we talk about this like, oh, it's the dead time of summer. Everyone's up at the cabin. But I got to believe, August 13th, we're a little over a month away from camp opening. The prep has begun. So what are the players and coaches doing right now this time of the summer?
It's funny. I tell you, Bill, this has changed so much over the last 20 years on what players do when their season is over. Back when I first started in the late 90s, early 2000s, dude, when the season was over, it was over. It was over. Everybody packed their bags. They were gone. They were at the cabin. They were having fun. They were doing family vacations. And that was it. People walked away from the game. And you prepared on the first day of training camp. Guys came in out of shape, maybe a few too many cocktails over the summer. And the coaches started their prep a few days before. And you had forever camps for 3-4 weeks. You had 10 days before your first game. That's not the way it is anymore. There's too much money. The competition is way too hard, and guys are improving at a rapid race that you can't get behind. So guys are taking days off after the season, days before they're back in the gym, before they're back on the ice, before they're back doing what they do to try to improve. And you look at what's happening in Philadelphia and every team in the league, especially with the guys that are injured or had surgeries or are trying to get back in it. Dude, these equipment managers and trainers and medical guys never get a day off anymore. It's just you go right from the end of the regular season right to the off season, getting in shape, and guys are skating together. Guys are lifting weights together. It's no longer, hey, let's go out and have fun. It's let's get me better. What can I help improve with my diet? And it helps the overall game. I mean, the game is better because of that. But right now, this is it. This is the middle of August. This is the guy's last chance to get, hey, I might take a week off. Maybe I'm going to run to Cabo for the week and get a little bit of sun, because when I get back, like, guys are skating now. Guys have been skating for a month. Guys have been skating for 2 months. Everybody's trying to get that edge on the guy that's trying to take their job, or the young guy that's trying to take the old guy's job. Everybody's working and everybody's trying to get better, but this is their last gasp. This is it. August is it. When you can finally go, okay, I can step away before I have to get back to Philly. I got to get back to Utah. I got to get back to Dallas. I got to get there and get ready, because kids have school starting. All those things are happening. But from a coach's perspective, again, it's changed. It used to be our season's over. We know what we're doing for training camp. We got the same system, same players. We're just going to run it back. It doesn't work like that anymore. It is now study time. And I worked with Rick Tocchet, and I'm telling you, Rick Tocchet's summers, you're busy. And you're busy uncovering what worked for other teams. And he called them coaches symposiums. And what he would do at this time of year, it'd be middle of August, early September-ish. You would get together for 3 or 4 days away from the rink. You would go to a neutral site location, so you can have a little bit of fun too, but it's work. And it is, okay, you're given a project. How are teams scoring in the playoffs? What did they do to score in the playoffs? And you'd have to show video. You'd have to defend your argument with numbers and statistics. And then you'd say, does that fit for our team? Then another guy would have hey, how are teams defending in the playoffs? How are they stopping teams from getting through the neutral zone? Show us some video. Can that work for our team? And you would go through every single element of every single system and go, can we get better? Does it fit for our team? And Bill, like the Florida Panthers and Carolina Hurricanes play a specific way. Some teams don't have that personnel. They can't play that way. But can we steal something? Can we take something from that? And I'll tell you, Rick Tocchet's going to come out that first few weeks of training camp, and he's going to try something different. Now, whether it works or not, or whether they're doing it on October 8th, 9th, 10th when they start the season, I don't know. But he's going to try something different. And coaches and players might go, what the hell are we doing? Like, this is stupid. But he's going to try, because he wants to get better, and he wants to get something that can help you improve your team in little steps. So the coaching staff right now is killing it. Like, they are doing everything they can to improve this Philadelphia Flyer team. And I tell you what, Rick Tocchet is going to come in. He's hitting the ground hard. I would not want to be there day one of Flyer camp, because those players are going to get there. It's going to be a tough day one.
It is interesting because you brought this up, that day one, and in the new CBA, which doesn't take effect for a couple of years, so it's not this year, there's no more off ice. There's no more fitness testing at all. And the first day of Flyers camp the last 3 seasons was the dreaded rope skate of John Tortorella. He hooks the two nets with a rope. You have to go around them, and it's just an over and over thing. Barry Trotz had a very famous version of it as well, where it was basically an up and back and to center a few times. I find some of the stuff in the new CBA very funny. Like, all right, Trotz isn't coaching anymore. Tortorella is out now. He's probably maybe got one more job in him. The dress code stuff, it's like, yeah, Lou's gone. No more dress codes. Yep. It's almost as if they waited for all the old school guys to be gone before they actually made rules about this stuff. But no more fitness testing. What do you think about that as a member of a coaching staff? What do you think the coaches actually think about not being able to beat the crap out of their guys on day one the way has been traditionally done?
I think there's some frustration there. I think there's some reality too. I think people went overboard. I do. And I think some teams, some coaches, some strength conditioning guys put way too much value on off ice testing. They just did. Like you go into some of these training camps and you see guys pumping a bike with the mask on to check their oxygen levels and the VO2. I don't care. Like, and my argument was, I don't care if the guy, he's a great bike rider. Who cares? He's going to score. Yeah. He's going to score 25 goals. And that's what Wayne Gretzky, when he was the coach in Arizona, I know he still did fitness testing, but he goes, you know what? He said, I don't recall the number, but it wasn't very many bench presses. I don't know if it was one or two. And he goes, who cares? Who cares? And he would, as a player, that's how he approached it. He goes, you guys don't care how many pull-ups I can do. And he was right. And I think what happens to the coaching staff and where you are at with technology today is you always want a number to quantify everything. Everybody wants that. And that's where advanced statistics have taken us. It's you can't watch the game anymore and say who wins or loses. It's, well, who defended the entries, who had the number of odd man rushes for and against. Like, who cares? Who won the game? And I think that's what happened with off-ice testing. It became, well, this guy's VO2 or this guy's vertical. Did you see this guy's vertical leap? Who cares? And it became such this mythos, especially for general managers, because they wanted to see their stars, the guys they just drafted. Gosh, did you see that guy in his VO2? Again, who cares? And I think players dreaded those days. They were physically demanding. Some guys took a day or two after those to recover and be able to perform on the ice. So what are you accomplishing? We had guys get hurt doing the shuttle run where they were twisting ankles. Now they're out. And for what purpose? To what are you finding out? Most guys are in shape, and the guys that you aren't in shape, they're not in shape. Those are the guys that got punished. It was never, hey, look how great the shape. It's always that one or two guys. Oh, this guy came in overweight, or this guy couldn't do that. Well, let's find the guys we can yell at, and it became more of a mechanism to who's in trouble. And I think the CBA getting that out, it's one of those players are still coming in shape. Like if you're not in shape, you're not going to play. So I think just quantifiably taking the bench presses out and the grip strength, and none of that matters. Can the guy put up points? Can he play when it counts? Can he get in front of, can he block shots? All of those things are the things that matter. I know you want to have quantitative measurements so you can say this guy's better than that guy, but really, can't you do that on the ice? Can't you say, hey, this guy's better than this guy because of XYZ on the ice? So I from the coaching room, I always thought there were some coaches that way overvalued the off-ice testing that needed it immediately and we could get and yell at guys. And there are other coaches that understood what it was.
That's I always think back to the I think it was the combine like 10, 11 years ago. Sam Bennett couldn't do a pull-up.
Yep.
Sam Bennett, one of the baddest dudes in the league. Every team in the league wants Sam Bennett. Like, knowing it didn't make sense for the Flyers is like, I don't care. I still want them to sign him if he hits the market. Like, every team wants Sam Bennett. Every team is looking for their version. It's like, I don't know. He couldn't do a pull-up. Like,
Bill, did that affect teams' choices
in the game?
Like, Bill, do you think there were scouts out there or management teams going, God, he couldn't do a pull-up. Let's drop him down on our side. And it probably did. I'm crazy.
Sure. I bet you it would have been a tiebreaker of some. Now he ended up going fourth. It's not like it killed him.
Yeah.
But it's still like this was a story. This was a thing people talked about. Oh, there's gonna be an issue. He can't do a pull-up. Like, I've never seen a guy do a pull-up on the ice. Never once. Not once have I ever seen that. The prep for training camp, like, how much are the coaches just go, well, this is the way we do it, and how much does it vary year to year? Like, what goes into putting together what training camp is for
it's
the
really
teams.
interesting because I think one of the things the mission for training camp is different for different people in an organization. For management, it's to get a look at those guys on the bubble, those new draft picks, and get those guys the opportunity to potentially play in a preseason game, or to get them they always say, get them a really fair look. I want to give them a fair look. The coach's mission is to get my 23 guys together and get them working on their special teams, get them working on what they're doing to prepare for game one. So coaches want to prepare for game one. Management wants to prepare for this year, next year, the year after, and slot guys in. So there's always that difficult time the first few days. And I remember the arguments that you'd have, because we wanted to split teams evenly. So at training camps, we had 3 groups, A, B, and C groups. And you wanted to split the veterans out amongst these 3 groups. And then the next tier. So you've got some rookies playing on the same team with your captains and your veterans. Maybe just to give everybody a fair look. But the problem when you do that is you're spreading everybody so thin, you can't get lines together. You can't get groups together. You clearly can't put special teams together. So you're fighting against your own mission in training camp. It's really, really hard. And the only time that I saw it in 23 years at Arizona where somebody finally put their foot down was, we talked about it, was Wayne Gretzky. Because Wayne Gretzky got what Wayne Gretzky wanted. He goes, I want my team. I want my team day one. Here's the 23 guys or 25 that I want to have on Group A. And we're putting them on Group A. And it was hard to argue with Wayne Gretzky from a management group perspective. So Wayne got what he wanted. And there was an A group, a B group, and a C group. And the C groups are the guys that they're American League bound, they're tryout contracts. These guys aren't going to play. But what happened? It's funny. You've got guys in the C group that by day 2 you're going, hey, there's a couple guys here that can play, and you know what? Let's move them up to the B group and let's see if they perform there. And so the B group went on for a few more days, and by the end of training camp, 2 players, Peter Weller and Dan Winnick. Dan Winnick ended up playing over 500 games in the National Hockey League. Started off in the C group with no chance when Wayne Gretzky was the coach. He was on the opening day roster. And I thought that was the best way ever to run a training camp, to get guys to earn their way up. Unfortunately, it's difficult to do that. And it's difficult to be able to do the things you want to do. And those first 3 days are often wasted because you are getting your American League guys, your draft guys, the guys that you need to see. Hey, I want to see what Matvei Michkov looks like with this player. And so it gets watered down, and it's hard because you have different goals and different things you want to accomplish in training camp. So those first 3 days, we would often say these ones are tough. We got to get to day 4. We got to get to day 4. Day 4 was always the big benchmark where we could start getting to our numbers.
Yeah, that's I think teams have pretty much done this universally now, but the Flyers always have the rookie camp for about a week prior to everyone else. So it's okay. There are some rookies with a chance, and they'll be there, but especially the guys who we know they're going back to juniors. We just want to get a look. We know they're AHL bound, ECHL bound, but we want to give them a look, get them into a couple of games. They already have that opportunity, so it's narrowed down a little when real camp opens, but what the Flyers have done, and we'll see if they keep it up with Tocchet, it feels like for game groups the last couple years, home games, you get mostly the vets, mostly the guys who are going to be there. They'll mix in a different guy here or there because, they might get games this year. And then the away games, it's here are the Phantoms. Like that's basically.
It's funny though, Bill.
It's been broken up.
Those things are hard, and I'll tell you, with Tocchet specifically, we would put the entire preseason up on the board. It'd be a whiteboard and the slots for the 4 lines, 6 defensemen, and the 2 goalies. And we would put the entire preseason up. And he was very adamant about, especially if a veteran guy came in out of shape or didn't quite put the work in over the summertime, a veteran guy, a guy that, he could be a Sean Couturier, a guy that's that high up in the lineup. And you go, I'm putting him in game 1. I don't care where we're going on the road. He's going in game 1. I want him to get 5 games, and he'll plot him in. And he's very methodical in how he does that. So he will put up right now. Well, not now because they got to get on the ice first. But before they play their first preseason game, they're going to map out every player that's going to. Right now, he thinks is going to be in the lineup. Couturier is getting 5 games. I don't care. He's playing these games, and this is what he's going to do. And there are going to be some guys. You talked about the veterans that they did want to put. You want to have them play at home, and you don't have to travel, and you don't get home on the late nights. Dude, get ready because there's going to be some veterans that are getting on a bus and going to play some late nights, and he's going to send a message. You're not working hard enough. You're not doing enough. You're going to go on the road. And this is just the way it's going to be. And I think what happens is as you map this out, he'll go the last 3 games. This is pretty much our lineup. He'll have it down. He'll plug in right now to start it off. Of that 20, he's going to plug in 14 names right now. Like these are our 14 names. And then there's going to be some guys that he mixes in that there is an opportunity. There will be an opportunity to make this team for guys that right now might not be on the radar. There is, but he's very methodical about who's going to get the ice time, who's going to play, what lines are going to play together. And he is going to have that mapped out today. But by the first game, that could all get blown up. But gosh, we really wanted michkov and zegras together. God, they're awful together. They can't move the puck together. There's only one puck, and there's not enough puck between the two of them, so we're gonna have to break them up. But day one, you've got a plan. This is the plan, and you have a glorious plan, and they're gonna be on the power play together. Everything's gonna be great until it's not. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he evolves from game 1 of the preseason all the way to the end of preseason.
It's going to be interesting just getting to learn a new staff this year as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's take our second commercial break. It's time to tell you about our friends at Do Dat Dental, because your smile says a lot. So let us introduce you to the team that helps you say exactly what you want with your smile. Meet the Do Dat Dental Group. This is the team trusted to care for one of our city's greatest assets, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now entering their 5th season as the official dentist of the Philadelphia Eagles, Dr. D and his team have proudly served Philly and its fans for over 20 years. They do it all, from robotic implant surgery and Invisalign to veneers, emergencies, and so much more. They're locally owned and operated. Dr. D is a proud graduate of North Penn High and Temple U School of Dentistry. T for Temple U. Love to see it. His commitment to the health and confidence of our community runs deep. Whether you're an MVP or just a lifelong fan like me, this is the team you want caring for your smile. Check them out at PhiladelphiaEaglesDentist.com and discover how you can smile like the birds. And while we're here, it's time to tell you about Bet365. Time to get those preseason futures in for the NHL, because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. But today, I got to tell you, listen, I've told you all about how they've pioneered live in-game betting, the over 78 sports that you can bet live on throughout the year. But right now, I got to tell you about the Major League Baseball early payout offer. With Bet365 early payout offers, you're a winner if your team goes up by 5 runs. You get an instant payout on straight bets, and your parlay selections are marked as winners, so there's no reason to sweat out the whole game. Your team goes up 5 in the first, boom, you're done. You've won. Maybe you want to wait it out, see if the other team makes a comeback, play it the other way. You can. You've already been paid. Whatever you want to do, Bet365 is there for you, because whatever the moment, it is never ordinary at Bet365. And we have breaking news from our friends at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. All you got to do is sign up, use the code PHLY365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And everyone knows I'm in Jersey. It works in Jersey too. So you never have to worry about that with Bet365. All right, let's get back to it, Petey. We always have, I really enjoy our conversations, and I have so much planned. And then it's like, oh, we have 12 minutes.
We never get there.
Yeah, we never. I'm going to get Jeremy Roenick stories out of you one way or another.
Yeah.
But let's get to some of our listener questions. I asked some people what they wanted to know from our pal Petey. So let's start with James. It's a good one. How did you get into the industry? What kind of experience outside of working for an NHL team would be good to have? I'm not necessarily interested in being a video coach. Severely underqualified, more so finding a way to use my skills to work for an NHL team in some capacity.
Okay, this is hard. I was lucky. I played hockey growing up. I played college hockey. My dad was a college hockey coach, so I grew up in a hockey household. And when you do that, hockey's a small community.
It is such a small world.
you just know people. And unfortunately, I couldn't get a job out of college. I tried to be a video coach out of college, just didn't happen. So I went into restaurant and hotel management for a long time. But I tell you what, those connections that I made through hockey through the years were so important. And I stayed in touch with people, and I called people and met people. The most important advice I can give if somebody wants to work in pro sports is I went from that hotel management where I had a regular, it was in Minneapolis. We had a regular crew of hockey people and scouts coming through, talked to them, met them, knew them. And when Bobby Smith became the general manager of the Phoenix Coyotes, I knew him and I could call him and say, hey, do you got any jobs open? Interviewed with him. He said, no, I got nothing. I got nothing. You can be a runner. It was a stats runner from the press box to the locker room for free on game nights. I said, yes, I will do that. And 2 weeks before the season started in 1997, the video coach quit 2 weeks before the season. And he called me and said, can you start tomorrow? And the answer was yes. It was right place, right time. But my advice for people that want to work in sports, one, be really sure you want to do it. Because pro sports, two things. It's really, 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 really hard work. Like really hard work. There's no nights. There's no weekends. There's no, I mean, football teams and basketball teams are working on Christmas Day. Like this is hard. The hours are ridiculous. The pay is good for players, head coaches, and the general manager, but not for anybody else. Like you're not going to make a lot of money. You better really enjoy what you do. But there are so many jobs in there. There's charity jobs, there's marketing jobs, there's sales jobs. My advice is meet people and do the best that you can do at the job that you have. If you're in marketing or sales, do a tremendous job in marketing and sales and send your resume in. Call somebody, call a human resource person. Try to meet with the salesperson there. Hey, do you got a few minutes? How did you get started? You're not trying to find a job, but picking their brain. You got to know people. Otherwise, you will never find your way inside the sports business. It's just way too hard.
That's basically the advice I always say in terms of broadcasting, radio, whatever. You have to hang around and you have to talk to people and be prepared to be poor. And, you know, just know that it is very much a survival of the like last one standing sort of business.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they've been here like 6 years. I guess we can hire them. Like that's really,
it's true.
Really, it's
work as hard as you possibly can and don't worry about the money. Just do it. If they say do this, do it and do it better and do more. And it's incredibly hard. And it's hard to survive in the sports industry because if you've got a job, I'm telling you right now, there's 100 people behind you to do it cheaper. And there are. So you better perform every day. Sports it's fun and it can be an amazing place to work. And you get that camaraderie and you're competing to a common goal and you're trying to win. Not many jobs do you have where you're trying to win or lose. Man, it's awesome. But it's hard. And you get ready because it can wipe you out. So I think there are plenty of opportunities in sports away from inside the locker room that can be really rewarding. But it's tough to do. It's tough to do, Bill.
All right. Particularly about your job from UFO News Network Sunday, I actually have some questions for them. But anyway, how often is the head coach or an assistant asking to see a particular player game situation? And how often are you going to the coaches and saying, hey, take a look at this? Like, what is that dynamic as the video coach?
You know, it takes time and it takes a relationship building that they get to trust you at the beginning when you get a new coach. And it happens every time you get a new coach. It's mostly coach driven because they've got to learn that level of trust and your understanding of the game. So, and again, I go back to Rick Tocchet. I knew Rick Tocchet as a player in Arizona. I knew him an assistant coach under Wayne Gretzky. I knew Rick Tocchet very well, and he knew my level of hockey understanding. So it was a two-way street. It was, if I came in between periods and I said, hey, the Capitals are doing this and the Neutral Zone talk, we really got to find a way to get this chip off the wall. He would listen. But conversely, he would say from the bench through the headsets, hey, we can't get the puck stopped on the forecheck. What's going on? And so by the time he says that, we come in the intermission and I've got clips ready to show all of those things that we're having difficulties with so we can make our adjustments. It really is collaborative depending on how you get along with your coach. And there are some coaches that it's them. Like if they're running the show, they're asking for everything. I'm not going to listen to my video guy. What the hell does he know? That's out there. I had a coach tell me once, I came up with a suggestion early in my career on something. I was on the plane ride and I was showing some film and I said, we could do X. And he looked and he said, we should do Y. And I said, I questioned him and he turned to me and said, I have 4 Stanley Cup rings. How many do you have? And that was the end of the argument. It was also the end of a little bit of a relationship with me and that coach, which didn't go well from then on out. But there are coaches that are like that I know more than you. I don't want to hear from you. Those are the guys that are inside their box and they're not going to improve and they're not going to get better.
Yeah, there is so much of like, I always see a coach or a GM, and I do sympathize with, listen, it's their ass. They're the ones who are going to get fired, and those are the ones whose names we say all the time on the show. They're in the paper, back when they were papers. But like, I do understand that, but you just would think there'd be more open-mindedness to, hey, gotta see something new every now and then. Like, it's not always going to be the same way. And when we talked about looking at who the Flyers could hire as a coach, I did always bring up to Charlie, like, I know it probably means nothing, but no one since Stan Bowman has won a cup and then gone on to win it somewhere else too.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of that is you have a ton of success. Now you're stuck in your ways, and the game 10 years later is vastly different. Like, I think that is probably a big part of it.
I think that's Bill. When you look at the way coaches that are successful now, they're not the coaches that were successful 10, 12, 15 years ago. You couldn't. The game has changed so much, and how players need to be treated and appreciated differently than they did back then. Coaches laid down the law 20 years ago, man. It was their way, period. And I saw, like, when Rick Tocchet was here playing with Tkachuk and Roenick and all the big name players that were here in Arizona, man, Jim Schoenfeld ran the bench. That was it. Like, you didn't question him. You didn't talk back to him. You didn't go, well, my agent's going to call you. None of that happened back then. This is the coach. This is the way we're doing it. We're doing 2 days. We're going to go out in the parking lot in 110-degree heat and work out. But you just did it. Now, you can't treat players like that. They have the agents. Their moms are going to call. You can't. So if you didn't evolve as a coach, you can't coach anymore. And it's just, and you started to see with Tortorella. Like, I love John Tortorella. Great coach, really good. But the game has changed. The players have changed. The way you approach and communicate with those players has changed. And if you don't adapt, you're not going to be there very long.
No, and that was the end of Tortorella's tenure, was reportedly an argument with Cam York in which he kind of pulled the old coach trick of, I can bury you. Like, you're in a contract here. I can make it so that your career is not what you thought it was going to be. And 20 years ago, perhaps that was a threat that a player would heed. This threat ended in the coach getting fired and York this summer getting a 5-year contract. It went a little bit differently than I think John Tortorella thought it was going to go.
Exactly. And back then, you know what the other big threat back then was, Bill, is when things were going south or not going well, you trade somebody. The pre-cap era, if you saw the general manager outside your locker room door and things were going bad, you're going, uh-oh, somebody's on the move. Because you could trade a guy. It didn't matter. The cap didn't exist. So you just, somebody's getting traded. And you can't do that now.
I think that has led to so many coaches getting fired so much more often now. Is I've heard old GMs go, I always said I owe my coach a trade first. I need to change something, bring someone in, change a dynamic in the locker room, whatever it is, before I just fire him. And now, if we have 3 trades before Christmas, it's, wow, the league's busy this year. Flyers just used to make trades because Bobby Clark woke up on the wrong side of the bed and go, yeah, we need to do something. And it's changed so much in that way.
Those coaches used to be able to survive year after year after year after year. And now I'll give again. I keep going back to the player and the way the player has evolved. The player has so much more power because they're making so much more money. And these superstars in the league, they didn't have that kind of power. Keith Tkachuk couldn't get Jim Schoenfeld fired. He couldn't. Now, you don't think Connor McDavid could get a coach fired? Well, because he can. And you get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 players going into the general manager going, hey, we're not going to play for this guy anymore. You're done.
Keith Tkachuk couldn't get his own coach fired back then. I bet you he could get an Ottawa coach fired now.
I bet he could. I
guarantee that's the dynamic in the league now. Not saying he would or anything. I'm just like, I bet you he could.
Yes, and that's the way the league has changed. The players have so much more power than they had back then. It's unbelievable, and I'd be fearful to ever take a coaching job. I mean, you got to look at what Tocchet did, and you sign some term because you need to have that confidence that this is going to take a while. Like, I can't have the players getting me booted right away. It's happened around the league. Look at Dallas, the Ottinger mess. Like, that's it. Pete DeBoer's gone because the way he handled the goaltending pull in the playoffs. You're gone.
No, there's another podcast in town, Nasty Knuckles, with Riley Cote and Derek Settlemeyer, who was a longtime equipment manager, and he tells a story about when the Flyers hired Peter Laviolette. They're moving him into his house, and he goes, and boys, 1.5 years, 2 years from now, you're probably going to be moving me out. Like,
yeah.
and that's
Exactly.
like, that's the job now, that coaches are hired to be fired. All right, let's trigger overtime, do one more of these, and get the super chats. All right, go to allphly.com for more of the show if you're part of our TV audience. All right, I want to do the question from Anise. As someone with a lot of experience watching and picking apart hockey, is there any player in the Flyers organization or around the league you think is underrated? And why do you think people don't have those players highly rated? Is there somebody that you look at? I just want to go around the league like, no one really knows how good they are, because I feel like the underrated lists are always, all right, do they play for a warm weather team? Are they a Selke contender? Like, no, we can't call Barkov underrated anymore. I'm sorry, we can't. That's over. Like, it's always like those guys. I thought of Dylan Guenther right away. Just having seen him play a couple times last year, I was like, oh, this guy, I should probably hear his name a lot more.
Yeah, and I think that's what happens when you get in these markets like Utah or Anaheim or San Jose. It's hard, and I know everybody thinks Macklin Celebrini is great, but dude, you don't know how great he is to see him play, and not enough people see him play. And so when you get a team like the Utah Mammoth, you've nailed one of the most underrated players in the league is Dylan Guenther on the offensive side of the puck. He is absolutely special. He plays 200 feet. He's got a shot that can beat a goalie clean from the top of the circle. Incredibly high skilled. He's going to be a leader of this team in years to come after Clayton Keller finally loses the C and ready to retire. It's Dylan Guenther. He's going to be the captain of that team. Even their best players, like Clayton Keller, is a guy that people didn't notice until he got the opportunity to play with Austin Matthews. And so I think you nailed it on the front end, but on the back end, it's a guy that's going to play for the Buffalo Sabres this year, and it's Michael Kesselring. He's a right-handed defenseman. He's 6'5". This is going to round out this Buffalo Sabre top four. They've got Byram Dahlin. They've got Owen Power, and look out for Michael Kesselring. This is a guy that unheralded. He got picked up through waivers, or excuse me, he was in the trade with Edmonton with Nick Bjugstad. So he started off his career in Edmonton. He wasn't getting ice time. He was in and out, up and down from the American League. Then went to Utah and became a player that I think played above his weight class. And now he is a guy that's going to get points. He's going to score goals. He's going to rush the puck up end to end and create offense. But he's got that 6'5" reach. He's got a great stick, and he's going to be a really good defender for Buffalo. Buffalo's been waiting for a guy to help this Power Dahlin core get this team over to the next step. And I really believe Michael Kesselring is going to be one of those guys. So on the back end, make sure you're looking out for Michael Kesselring on the Buffalo Sabres.
It is so, like, they have so many of those highly touted guys, and it's just, they need something to pull it together. Maybe it is Kesselring. That I almost feel bad for Buffalo for so many reasons.
Yeah, well, there's the team, and that's where we talk about the ability for ownership and coaches to make a difference. I don't think that team is going to be successful until they start changing things from the top down. And it's unfortunate that an owner can have those kind of hindrances and hurdles to your team being successful. But Buffalo's got a situation between their ownership group and their management that I think is really difficult right now. And I don't know if they'll have success until they can clean that up.
Seems to be doing a hell of a job at Penn State, though. So good for him. Good for him on that.
For the Flyers, though, it's hard because you don't know what they have yet. And it's going to be, who is going to be the unsung hero of the Philadelphia Flyers? Like, you look at a player that Philadelphia fans know extremely well, but Travis Konechny, to me, is a much better player than he gets credit for around the league. He's more dynamic. He's more gritty. And he's more of an all-around player than I think he gets credit for around this league. But Philadelphia Flyer fans aren't saying he's underrated. Like, he's a very big piece of what they do. One that's going to be interesting in Philadelphia, though, and underrated is not the right term. This term is going to be, this is a ability to be a comeback player. It's going to be Trevor Zegras. Like, Trevor Zegras came into this league at a storm. Like, he was, wow, look at this player, look at this skill, look at the Michigan he can pull off behind the net, and then he disappears for a couple of years. He didn't put in the work. He didn't play both ends of the ice. Became a selfish player. I'm curious to see if he can respond and be the player that he should have been and through all of this time. And I believe, and I've said it before on this show, I think Rick Tocchet's the right coach for Trevor Zegras. I think he's the right guy to get the stuff out of Trevor Zegras and get some of that fluffy, junior, flashy stuff out of his game and get him playing hockey. And this might be an opportunity for Trevor Zegras. It's not underrated because it's not fair. These guys put up points in this league, but he's a guy that can rebound and be that guy that go, gosh, the comeback player of the year. Yeah, that could be Trevor Zegras. We could be talking about that a year from now.
I am very much hoping that is the case. I'm hoping Tocchet can round out his game. I was listening to the last time we talked, and we talked about the potential relationship between those two, and I am hoping he can do a lot like he did for Logan Cooley and some of those younger players who, a lot of skill, really good on the perimeter, but how do you score goals in the NHL? How do you become a consistent player? You get to the dirty areas and you do a little work, you back check, you do those things. You can't be a transition player if you're not playing defense, creating the turnovers. There's so much to it. I'm hoping now, after being humbled by these last couple seasons, Anaheim giving up on him, having the bad experience with Cronin as his coach, he comes in and goes, I want to be the guy I was supposed to be, because he was supposed to be one of the faces of the league, not just the Ducks. He was on the cover of video. He was going to be the guy. And 2 years later, he's getting traded for Ryan Poehling and some not premium draft picks. It hasn't exactly gone his way. So maybe this is now that chance for him to have that second chance that so many players do eventually excel with. All right, Ethan, let us hit some super chats before we get out of here today. I think we have a few. Lead it off with, there we go, from our pal JH. It sucks to be Ryan Johansen today. He says hi to Petey. And 322 days until Connor McDavid is a free agent.
Yeah, is he a Flyer? Is Connor McDavid a Flyer?
That is our hope. We are hoping when he jumped on the team jet from the Four Nations to come and play in Philly that weekend, that there was some soft tampering going on. We're hoping.
Never say never.
I'm allowing myself the delusion until he signs. He didn't sign July 1st, so I'll let the delusion live. All right. The next super chat here is from our pal David Shub. He says, still with Bill, hit or set up score on D, prefer both. Yes, that's my thing about defensemen, is you either need to hit or score. Those are the two things I need out of my defensemen, and I'm begrudgingly like, yes, Sanheim, York, they're good, even though they're maybe not my type of defenseman. They have shown, like, I just look at all the on-ice results, and it's like, they must be good. This is a bad team, and they have like 56% of the expected goals. I got to believe they're good when Team Canada is going, you know what, Sanheim, you're going to be our 5th defenseman. Like, all right, must be. I will allow my assessment to be incorrect, I suppose. All right, a couple more here. Another one from David. When this season goes bad for certain teams, I expect big hockey trades. Lots of teams are in the put up or shut up stage of their rebuild. Wild year? I'll believe it when I see it. I do think because so much cap space is going to be opening up, like, I think next year the Flyers are supposed to have like 40 million, and they won't be the only team with a ton of cap space because the cap is going up so dramatically. Maybe we get more movement than we usually do, but we do this every year. This is the year there's going to be wild movement, and there isn't, because nobody wants to lose a trade, and nobody wants to look 3 years from now and go, that guy's a superstar. All right, couple left here from JH. Speaking of Stan Bowman, do you think he's in the hot seat for not having Connor locked down in his first real offseason as the GM?
Yeah, I'll take this one, Bill. Bill, the answer is yes. And it's not just locking Connor down. This is a team. What have we talked about the Edmonton Oilers for the last 2 off seasons? We've said they need better goaltending. They need better goaltending. They got to do better than Stuart Skinner. If they go into this season on game 1 with Stuart Skinner as their starting goalie, I'm Connor McDavid going, what? Like, what are we doing here? Like, we knew what the problem was, and this is what we're doing. So Bowman's, dude, I don't think this window is getting any more open for the Edmonton Oilers. Like, this is it. Like, they need to show up this year to win. Connor's not going to lose forever. He's not.
No, and that's the the theory I'm going with is Connor McDavid goes to the Edmonton front office and says, like he did last time, I'm not going to take the 20% that I should take. Like, 20% is the max you can get. I'm not going to do it. How much of a discount I take is based on what else you do. Mm-hmm. And they haven't done a ton else other than lock up guys they already have. They need to get this team from we're almost there to we are better and can beat Florida. We are better and can beat everybody, because you already have the best player in the world, and you already have Leon Draisaitl, one of the best goal scorers on the planet. It shouldn't take that much more work to figure this thing out. And I do think part of the holdup is like, what else are you spending this money on? Because otherwise, I'm taking my 20% and I'll get it from any team in the league. So, yeah, and considering who else is in charge, yeah, I bet Bowman, Bowman probably is a little bit on the hot seat.
Bold statement right now, Bill. A hot take. If they don't get better goaltending between Skinner and Pickard, not only do they not win the Cup, they're not in the finals. They're not in the Western Finals. This team doesn't make the Western Conference Finals. They might not get out of the first round if they don't get better goaltending. You can only go so much on two players carrying the load. I know they got deeper and they got better, but look what they've lost. With you lose Kane, you lose a guy like Corey Perry, you lose some role guys down the bottom of their lineup. There's a concern here. I say this team is not only not a Stanley Cup champion, they are not in the Western Conference Final this year.
Yeah, I mean, they fell down 2-0 to the Kings. Now, the Kings
should have lost. They should have lost. Kings should have beat them. I question their coaching decisions there in their bench. I think that they were 15 seconds away from that game 3 where if they just get the puck out of the zone, Byfield gets the puck out of the zone, this might go the other way. So I'm telling you, McDavid's not going to stay on a losing team. He's not. No, he's not. No, Dude wants to win. He's got enough money.
I can't imagine. Yeah, he'll get the money anywhere. Anywhere. That's the thing. All right, I believe we have another. They keep coming in. Once you start answering the super chats, people send more. From Vinit Singh, loved Petey's appearance with Jason Martinez. Didn't know we were so bad last year with expected save percentage. Will Tockett's system help?
Yes. Yeah, but one of the things Rick Tocchet does is he prides his team on defending well. He lets the offensive players play offensive from the blue line in. He lets them freewheel. He lets them do what they want to do. Lets them do what they do best. From the blue line in, defensive blue line in, you've got responsibilities and you have to defend. You can't win without defending in this league. And I still think there are coaches that play systems. I call them lazy. The man-on-man system is almost impossible to execute properly all the time. And there are very few teams that can do it. It's just easy to coach. And I think some coaches will do it. But Talk doesn't do that. He's got a modified zone system in the defensive zone that's going to be effective. It's going to protect the front of the net. It's going to limit rebounds and limit second chance opportunities. I think it's going to help them cut their goals against down this season without a doubt.
Yeah, Tortorella was very defensively oriented, but it seemed like the system was block shots and create rushes. And while that is a good transition, it did often leave the goalies out to dry. With if you deflect a shot and don't block it, now it's just a flipping puck in the middle of the ice, and who the hell knows what's going to happen. I feel like there's just going to be a little bit more structure inside of the structure this year. So we'll see how that goes. Was that it, Ethan? I think we are all set on Super Chats. Oh, one more from JH. Petey is
there we go.
Believer.
There he gets him in the black and orange. Let's go.
I have been called a McDoubter. I have Mick disbelief sometimes, but you're a McBeliever. So the chat loves you, Petey, and I love doing shows with you. I hope to have you again real soon. Charlie's taken like 100 days in a row.
I know.
So there's a good chance we have you again.
He's on the IR again.
This guy.
People start wondering about his injuries. Can he hold up through a full season? I don't know.
Rasmus Ristolainen over here. He's great in the playoffs. If you could ever get him into the playoffs, but he's never available. We love Charlie. We're just
always a pleasure, Bill. I love it here at PHLY. I will say the chat's a little off sometimes. They're a little goofy.
the chat is
wild. Even watching the same show.
The chat is its own community. I am glad they are with us.
They are.
And I'm glad you're here with us today. That's all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, you got to hit that like button. Do it. Give us the likes and follow us right here on YouTube. And follow Petey inside the coach's room on YouTube as well. It's good stuff. Follow us on all our socials. We're at PHLY_Flyers on Twitter. And follow the podcast wherever you get those. Just search PHLY Flyers. I am Bill Matz. That is Steve Peters. Till next time, be excellent to each other.
We all silly like the mayor.